Hey guys, welcome to Beyond the Podium podcast. I'm Kaylee Browning.
And I'm David Radulovich.
And we wanted to introduce ourselves to y'all properly. Some of y'all may know us as competitive shotgun shooters, and that's what we're most known for. But we have started a podcast to take you along our journey and what we've done.
Yeah, well, and a little bit more than that.
Yeah, a lot more than that, actually.
So, what we wanted to do first, before we release any heavy content episodes, is kind of give you one, however long it may be, but just giving you an introduction to it, going deep into a little bit more why we chose the name Beyond the Podium, what that means, and kind of what to expect in the future from the content that we release. Maybe give you a little bit of information about the website and what you can expect afterwards with that. So I'll let you take over.
Yeah, so first things first, let's explain the name. I think most people, I'm pausing so you can take that out.
Most people want to know what the name means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the name Beyond the Podium, we both took a lot of time to think of what exactly we wanted the podcast to entail. And the word podium kind of stuck with both of us because it symbolizes, I would say, achievement. It symbolizes achievement no matter what you're achieving or trying to achieve. So we named it Beyond the Podium because we want to really take a look into how to get to the podium. Whatever your podium may look like. A podium doesn't necessarily have to mean, you're standing on a podium and you get a gold medal around your neck. It can mean any achievement at all.
And on top of that, what we were looking at was kind of bringing you together some content that's kind of like a holistic approach to getting to that podium. When you talk to an athlete or when you listen to other podcasts about people that have achieved success, a lot of the times it's just about, they just talk about what they did to get there in the game, the practice, the mental game, the whatever it is. And we wanted to go beyond that, hence the part of
beyond.
Yeah, beyond the podium. So we wanted to go beyond the game and talk about the life. Talk about getting inside your mind, getting inside the competitor's mind. Or
the sacrifices it takes.
Yeah, and the choices that you have to make. And kind of really just put you in that place, both consciously, when we're, what would you be thinking about? And then also bring in some guests that don't necessarily have anything to do with shooting. And so we felt that giving the name Beyond the Podium to our podcast allowed us to kind of creatively get outside that box that a lot of people put themselves in when they're doing a podcast, and both of them kind of have a specialty in the same area.
Yeah. So let's start after that. Let's go into just a little bit of a background of who we are and as people, and kind of what we do in case we have listeners that don't know. I'll let you go first.
Okay, so obviously my name is David Radulovich, and I was born in 1993, Cleveland, Ohio. It kind of started off. From there I was always into sports. Got into 3D archery, and then by the time I was about 8, ended up finding sporting clays through accident, actually. Long story short, we went to a resort where my sister was too young to rent skis, and we ended up shooting guns instead.
So you can thank your sister for all of your
it's her fault.
Success. I don't know about fault is the right word.
Yeah. But anyway, so it went through that, and then I had a really cool, unique experience with ESPN at the first tournament I ever went to. Long story short on that one, a field reporter came and ended up knowing my dad's friend that was with us, and decided to use us as B-roll footage, and then interviewed me at my first tournament ever when I was 8 years old. So
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
You got put on ESPN at your first tournament ever.
From the very start, ESPN knew I was going to be great.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
Listen, from Ohio, you got LeBron James, you got Stipe Miocic, and you got David Radulovich.
Can I put some boots on? Because it's getting deep in here. It is getting deep.
Oh, gosh. But we do have the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, in all seriousness, yeah, I mean, it was not because I was good or anything. I mean, it was literally my first tournament ever. I believe I shot an 86 out of 200. And
which honestly still is not even that bad
for your first time.
First time.
Yeah. But also thinking about this was like 20 years ago when targets were a lot different. You know,
yeah, but I mean, at the time, they were as hard as they were at that time. You know, I mean,
that is an accurate statement.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't know that they could get harder. They were as hard as they could be at that time.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, but I think the high score may have been a 182. So I mean, I was like 100 birds back from overall.
Yeah, well,
but I was also 8 years old.
Yeah.
So, but that was really cool. And I remember my first tournament ever, I was like, man, what a cool experience. I get to shoot guns. I was basically walking through the course in the woods. I had ESPN come out and follow me around. I still have on the VHS tape, I still have that interview on the back porch of Hillendale Club in Medina, Ohio, and some footage of me shooting. And it was just such a cool, captivating experience that, I mean, it made the other sports that I do kind of seem boring, you know? And so from then on, it was, you know, whenever I could get a chance to, I'd go out and practice with my dad and my neighbor. And that club that I ended up trying shooting at for the first time, Nemacolin Woodlands, ended up really kind of helping me out early on. There's a guy there named Michael Moore who runs Seven Springs right now. And he was in charge of the shooting academy. When I would go out there, they'd set me up with this. There's this other guy who's now become a really close family friend. His name is Larry Orwick, and he was our trapper, and he was kind of like my first official coach, I guess you could say. And I mean, I used to shoot there all the time when I was young, learning how to shoot. In fact, when I was, I think, 9 or 10 years old, they had me sign a hat at Nemacolin.
So now at age 9, after ESPN's following you, you're now giving out autographs.
Well,
please, this is not a relatable story.
No.
ESPN and giving out autographs by 9.
But the cool thing is, so they had me sign this hat, and they made me put and actually this other guy that was there, his name was Mike McAlpine. Sorry to keep name dropping, but these are all really important people. But so they all made me sign this hat, sign my name, and then put future world champion. And it was when I was 9 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's still there in the trophy case. But so, I mean, I wasn't good enough to be doing that. But what was cool is those people were in. As a kid, I mean, I was enjoying the game, and they were encouraging.
They made it fun for you.
Yeah, I mean, that was.
They made you feel like you could do it.
I'm sitting here on a podcast talking about it right now.
Now you are a world champion.
Yeah.
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 I mean, you signed that you were going to be a world champion, you made that happen.
Yeah, that was the plan from the get-go. But no, actually, it really wasn't.
That's what ESPN story was.
That's why they were there. But anyways, so that all came about, and turned out I ended up having a really amazing club close to my house called Hillendale. They were like 20 minutes from where I grew up at my parents' house, so I would go there a lot. This company called Dramatic sponsored me early on when I was about maybe 11 or 12 years old. They sent me some machines that Hillendale let me put on their property, and I had my own little practice area. And so as we get through, and we'll talk about some of it later in other podcasts, but, you know, at this time in my career, I was not planning on this being my career. I was planning on it being a hobby that I did outside of work. But I had a lot of people step up to the plate and help me. And so from there, I ended up having a lot of early success. I ended up meeting this guy named Wendell Cherry that I'm sure that we'll have on the podcast. Was my coach, still is, and became a very good close friend. He helped me through the stages. I got to shoot with him while when I was really young. I mean, from the time I was 10 years old until maybe 16 years old, I was shooting with Wendell on a squad at every tournament we went to, and there were years where, you know, we may go to 20 tournaments and he'd outright win 17 of them.
That's cool.
You know, so
that's so awesome that you had somebody like that to be squatted with and
Yeah.
to like shoot behind. You
Right.
know? That's really cool.
Yeah. So like from an early stage, I saw success, and I was shooting right behind it. At that time, I mean, in the United States, when Cherry was like unbeatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that was really influential in him being my coach, and basically get to understand and carbon copy every time I got up into the cage to shoot what Wendell was doing. So got through that, ended up winning a U.S. Open when I was 16 years old, totally by accident. And I say that because Wendell and my mom and everybody else in my squad kind of protected me, or like sheltered me during that match, and I had no idea that I was going to win it until I won it. And from then on, I experienced a little bit of faltering and trouble after that, trying to figure out how to win once I accidentally did. And then kind of turned into a career, and went from being something I did outside of school to starting a business in it, to becoming a professional in it, to starting we started a TV show called the PSCA Tour, did that, got involved with another podcast, that took off, and here I am now, and my job is to teach people how to shoot, do this podcast, and compete and travel the world doing it. So it's been a really cool journey, and met a lot of amazing people along the way, and had a lot of really cool experiences as I've gone through all that, and sitting here thinking about it all. I mean, there's no way I can summarize that.
We'll save that for another podcast.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Well, for me, I'm just a Southern girl from Arkansas. I didn't have local, clubs that were hosting big shoots. I certainly didn't start off with ESPN or signing autographs. That wasn't my upbringing. But no, I started shooting competitively when I was 8 years old, similar to you. And my dad got me into it, Tommy Browning. He shot competitively as well. So
Right.
I pretty much grew up in the game, like in a competitive world and in sporting clays, because that's what my dad did. And he introduced me to hunting and guns and all of that when I was really little. So he always made it fun for me. It never was something that was forced on me. It was always like, hey, you want to go shoot? And he would line up balloons or Coke cans or something, and I would shoot them with BB guns, and I thought it was so fun. So finally I got to the age where I could handle a gun on my own, and went to my first match. I have no idea how I did. I don't remember? Probably not very good. I don't know, but I probably was more interested in playing in the dirt. So went to my first match. Really, really loved it. I shot a Beretta 391, I think, at the time. And from there, I shot sporting clays until I was 14, and had some success there. I mean, again, not ESPN level, but
would you quit that?
but had some success there. Won my class lot. I believe I was 1 or 2 punches away from master class at 13 or 14 whenever I was switching games. And at 14, I switched to the international games because they were offered in the Olympics, and sporting clays is not offered in the Olympics. Right. So my dream...
You're always going to have that over me.
Yeah, I will. My dream since I was a little girl was to make an Olympic team. And
Tell that story that your dad said when you were watching the ice skating.
Which story?
You know, how you were a little girl, before you even tried shooting, and you're watching the Olympics. You don't
I don't remember this story. Tell me.
So, fast forward a little bit, when she makes the Olympic team, her dad told me a story when you were really young, like 4 or 5 years old or something, and you were watching the Olympic ice skating.
Mm-hmm. That and gymnastics is still my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were watching the Olympic ice skating, and you had a little, like, I guess, costume on or something, like what they would wear, and you said, Dad, one day I'm going to be in the Olympics.
I do remember that, but I 100% thought it was going to be for ice skating or gymnastics.
Wait,
I didn't think it would be for shooting a shotgun.
So you thought, growing up in Arkansas,
Yeah,
that you'd get the Olympics in ice skating and not shooting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a kid can dream. I'm sure there's people from Arkansas or even more southern states that have made a career in ice skating. It's not impossible.
Right.
So, yeah, no, since I was little, I've always had the dream of making an Olympic team. So I switched over to the international games when I was 14. I made my first open traveling team when I was 15 years old. And the first World Cup that I went to was in Munich, Germany. And it was me and I had two other teammates then. And I was the youngest one there. I think anybody else close to me was maybe like 35 or 40. I mean, I was 15 years.
In Germany.
Yeah, well, on my team.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting. Like the jet lag, I had no idea what jet lag was. I mean, honestly, this is a funny story. So my dad, there's obviously no place to train for international bunker in Arkansas, or there wasn't at the time when I was shooting it. So my dad and I built a bunker on our land out here. And we researched it and, got the dimensions and built it accordingly and all of that. But when I went overseas, I called my dad in a panic because I was like, Dad, this does not look like what our bunker looks like at home. I was like, it's flat. It's like the targets are literally coming out of the ground. I can't even see the bunker. I don't even know where the bunker's at.
What was yours? It was like an ATA house?
Yeah, it was like
in the front and the back?
No. In the back, like part that I saw
was flat.
But it like dipped off. Like it was like, imagine if it's on the side of a mountain or something. Like there was it just shot into the sky.
Yeah.
So when I get over to Germany and I see that it's all flat, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this contraption? I've just trained all wrong. I have no idea what this is. And so I call my dad in a panic. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. And he's like, well, you know how to hit a target, don't you? And I was like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, go hit a target. Like, all right, problem solved.
I hadn't thought about that.
So, yeah. So that was my first experience overseas. I might have been shooting at MQS, which means a minimum qualifying score. So your first World Cup that you go over, you have to basically prove that you can shoot a high enough score to win a medal. So you have to get an MQS before you can earn a medal. So I believe that's what I was shooting for. But I think my MQS score would have made the final there.
Cool.
I want to say I shot like a 68 or a 69 out of 75 at the time.
Which is a good score.
Yeah, it was a pretty good score then.
It's hard to compare the scores between your game and my game because they're just so different. But,
totally different games. So made my first traveling team, went to Germany. From there, I've been all over the world really. 15, 16 different countries I've been to competing. I've won some national titles, set some world records, national records, 2-time Pan American medalist. Was the alternate in 2012 for the Olympics. And then now I have finally fulfilled my dream of making an Olympic team.
You did.
And I did that this past February.
Yeah.
In Tucson, Arizona. Made the 2020 Olympic team.
Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no. Oh, I was just going to say, and then from there, I coach and do this podcast. And side note, I flip houses as well. I'm a realtor. A lot of people don't know that about me.
Why do you say realtor?
What do you mean?
I just say realtor.
Well, I don't know. A realtor.
Do you add a word on there? Or a letter?
I don't know. I don't know. Stop.
Anyways.
I'm a realtor.
There you go.
So yeah, flip houses, do that. Also in a business that creates digital content for companies called Gunsmoke Media. So I do a lot of different things outside of shooting, but shooting has definitely led me here to where I'm at today to be able to do those.
Been the fuel for all of it.
Yeah, to be able to do all of those other things.
Same. So, for those of you that don't know, Kaylee and I have known each other for a very long time.
Like since we were 8, we've known each other.
Yeah.
Like when we started shooting sporting clays.
Yeah.
We've known each other.
Maybe a year after that because you're a year older than me.
I'm like 6 months older than you.
Let's
not.
But So we've known each other for a long time and been very close for a long time. And so when you and I don't want to talk too much about it right now because I think we should save that for a whole separate podcast, the whole Olympic thing. But
Oh yeah, it's a cool story. A really cool story.
But it was really cool for me to be there for her or with her while she made the Olympic team this year in Tucson because for 08, 12, and 16, I wasn't there, but I was talking with her like every day about it, and she had come so close all three of those times. I mean, within a handful of birds, and within one or two times.
Yeah, I would say 08, I competed, but I wasn't necessarily like a contender.
Yeah.
I might have made a final then, but that was kind of like when I was first getting into the game.
Right.
But I definitely was in the top 10.
ESPN wasn't following you.
ESPN was still not. They're still today not following me. ESPN, where are you
20 years
at?
ago. But no, but anyways, but I mean, it was just really cool. It was a really emotional experience and a very proud moment, obviously for Kaylee, but also for me to watch the culmination of 12 years of getting so close.
Failures and overcoming and frustration.
Yeah.
And
I cried.
Yeah. There was after I made the team. So like the last five shots, I knew I had made it. So here come the floodgates. I mean, just
right now?
No.
Oh.
After the last 5 shots when I was shooting in the final. And my eyes were just filling with tears because I was so emotional. And I couldn't hit anything the last 5 shots. I mean, I couldn't see anything. I was crying. But I come off of station 5. When I get done, come off. And there's cameras there, and they're taking pictures. And I'm an ugly crier, okay? I'm not a graceful, pretty crier, okay? Like, my eyes get all squinty. Like, it's not cute. And the first picture that gets taken is me, ugly crying, going to hug you and my mom and my dad. And that is the picture that gets used for everything.
Can we put it up in this video?
Yeah, it's everywhere. I can't run from it. And there's so many other pictures that they could have used. I mean, I'm like, I'm pumped up, I'm excited.
But that's the one you want to use.
Is it though?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Because it shows the emotion and the look, you don't accomplish something that big without heartache.
Well, yeah, I know that, but maybe if I was not such an ugly crier, it would have been. I remember my whole family started a group chat, and still to this day, about weekly, I get a picture from my cousins, and it's just a zoomed in close up of me ugly crying, and he'll just say, "Can we just take a minute?"
I want to put it on the fridge.
It's terrible.
Oh man.
So, I know that people listening know that we've known each other for a while, but they're probably wondering, like, they're probably asking, like, are they dating? Are they co-host? What's going on there? What is going on here?
Well, that's not a big surprise.
No. So, to answer that question, because we have gotten some comments on it.
People don't know.
I don't know. Somebody actually asked that. But yes. So, yes, we've known each other since we were 8. But we really didn't start becoming friends until we were about 11-ish.
Yeah, 11, 12.
Yeah, 11, 12.
We have a lot of funny stories from back in Sporting Clays shoots of Saturday nights getting on golf carts and driving around.
Let me just say, any club that's listening, if you had a wrecked golf cart, it was David.
What?
David wrecked all your golf carts.
That was not me.
I was there to witness it. That was David.
That was not me.
I'm not going to name drop any of his friends, but you know who you are.
Yeah, we weren't the greatest.
Yeah. So we've known each other since we were young, and we became really good friends since then. I mean, we probably became, I would say, closer friends from 15, 16-ish on. I mean, we almost talked every single day. If not every day, it was weekly. We would talk.
Yeah, I would say from then until now, I've never gone 2 weeks without talking to you.
Yeah, I would agree. Whether
or like, a week, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, fast forward all that, and I won't bore y'all with sappiness, but now we're dating. We've been dating for almost a year now, so pretty cool.
It's okay.
It's fine. You're fine. It's cool that the ESPN cameras are camped out at my house,
yeah.
trying to get David. Maybe they'll notice me. I got to date David Radulovich to get noticed.
Yeah, that's right. I'm an internationally finely tuned athlete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I said,
man.
I need my boots.
So, let's say, so we went through all that. I mean, do we want to get into, I mean, how much in depth do we want to get with all that?
I think that gives everybody just kind of idea, a little sense of who we are, what the podcast is about, what the name means. But what I do want to quickly touch on is our very first episode.
Yeah. Well, actually, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the structure of the podcast.
Oh, sure.
So what we wanted to do was kind of going along with the theme of the Beyond the Podium name. We wanted to bring in guests in other areas, but also if you go to our website, you're going to see mention of some stuff about series podcasts. And so we're kind of kicking off the whole thing with the first one. And what we mean by that is, you know, when we get into, I mean, and this will kind of lead us where you want to go.
Yeah.
But we get so many emails, questions, messages on social media.
Daily.
Oh my God, literally, about stuff pertaining to the mental game.
Yeah.
And if we wanted to answer those and do it in the form of one podcast, it's just literally not possible.
That's honestly kind of what led us, like kind of what sparked the idea to do a podcast, because we were like, how some people, you know, whether it's financial reasons or they don't live close enough or whatever the reason is, cannot come to take a lesson, or they don't have enough time that needs to be put into it. So
or we're all quarantined.
Yeah, or we're all quarantined. So we thought a podcast would be the best way to reach as many people as possible, to be able to touch on some of these topics and talk about them and kind of answer. I mean, we don't have all the answers for mental game or anything, but we do have experience, and we do know what we went through, and we can share our wisdom that we've got from our own experiences. And I think that's mainly what people are curious about, because, you know, I mean, I would like to pick a brain of, you know, somebody that I look up to. So it's kind of cool to be able to sit down and really think, how did I get here? How does my brain work? How do I process stuff? Like,
I've been trying to figure that out for a long time.
For yourself? Yeah,
no,
me
for
too.
You. But so what we're doing with this is we're going to dig really deep, and we're going to do these series of podcasts where, whether it be 2 or 3 or 5, whatever, in the future, when we get a topic that's really important to us and we want to bring guests in or do research or present ideas to you or formulate something in a plan, we're going to do these series podcasts, and they're going to be different than just our normal podcast, where on top of what you get in the videos and you know, in the audio aspect of the podcast, if you sign up for our newsletter, which you can do on our website at the bottom of pretty much every page, you'll also get some supplementary information. So whether that be links to articles, a put together finalized PDF of some really cool information, or articles that the two of us have written, and everyone's going to be different, so we can't talk in detail about each one, but we want to be a really immersive podcast. We don't want to be just something that you kind of listen to without paying attention to. We want to help you guys, and that's what we do. I mean, outside of shooting, is we both teach. We're instructors and coaches, and we're passionate about that. So we want to get you guys involved, and we want you guys to give us your questions and answer questions that we may present to you, and get involved. So there's that. So there's the series podcast. So I guess with that kind of leads us into where you wanted to talk a little bit about for what our first one is going to be.
What the first series is, yeah. So the first series that we're going to be covering is, well, it may change, but right now it's a 3-part series. And we've kind of categorized that into the beginning stages of the mental game, meaning what, like, kind of how you get started, what your brain processes when you don't really know what's going on. Maybe you had some accidental success during that and you just don't know what's going on. You're just starting out. So we did that, and then we moved into the phase of intermediate, I guess you could say, and that's kind of like the stage of where you realize you could be good, or you've decided to actually pursue it and put time into it. Maybe you got a coach. Maybe you're not doing it just as a hobby anymore. Whatever that looks like for you. And then we advanced into the advanced stage, or I don't want to say the end stage, but like the current stage, which the current stage
for us.
Yeah, I was going to say current stage, meaning like for us, where we're at currently. And the first episode is really good.
Yeah. If I could categorize it in a simpler way, it would be Series 1 is or episode 1 of the series is meant for people who are new into the game to the point of that they don't even really understand the equipment aspect of it yet. And they're just getting started, and they maybe have just gotten their first taste of competition in whatever it is that they're doing, or something like that. Second stage is somebody who's obviously past that, but maybe starting to think about, okay, I want to invest a lot of time and money into this. I have another job or I have another career that's more important, but I want to put a lot of time and effort into this. I'm going to be as good as I possibly can be, given those scenarios. And so, like she said, looking for coaches and everything, traveling a lot. And then the last one is, I want this to be my career. So, you're trying to basically win a world championship or get to as high of a potential that you can be for that.
But we don't want to limit it to
just shooting.
Just
right.
shooting. We think we have some insights that would pertain to anybody who's really just kind of wanting to climb that ladder, no matter what you're doing, whether that's, life, sports, your career. I mean, honestly, anything, whether that's your personally, whatever it is that you're kind of like, I really want to get better at that. Whether you just want to wake up and just have an overall better positivity attitude towards what you're doing and yourself, because I can tell you, I've went through some dark times. Yeah. And I would say that's in the second phase for sure. But it's hard to realize, looking back, obviously it's easy to sit there and think like, wow, that was a really dark time.
Yeah.
But when you're actually going through it, sometimes you don't even realize you're going through it, and you're kind of stuck in this vortex of,
oh, nice word,
like, what's going on here? I have no idea what's going on. I was just like, for me, it was like I was just having so much.
Riding a wave.
I was riding a wave. I had a lot of success, and then it was like, bam, gone. And it wasn't that I was just tanking everything. It was like I was just kind of stuck in this little, I don't know.
It's like a pigeonhole.
Yeah.
You're just you almost don't realize you can control your decisions.
I lost total love for the game.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to shoot. I didn't even want to pick up a gun anymore. But anyways, we dive really deep into all of that stuff. That got serious real quick. We dive deep into all of that stuff because I don't want to say we've been through it all, but we've been through a lot. And just because we're a little bit younger than most people that would be, like we have almost 20-year careers here.
And 40 years of experience.
Yeah, 40 years of experience, and we're only 27 years old. And anybody
but you're slightly older.
Anybody that has done something for 20 years has got experience, and that's just, that's just facts,
You know what they say? Factually,
What do they
Anybody
say
that's
factually?
done anything for any amount of time has some experience.
That is a fact. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of it'll be a good series, especially a good one to kick off with, because I would say that's our most requested, at least that's my most requested topic to hit on. Like anytime I do an Instagram live or anytime I ask for questions to answer, it's always about the mental game.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that it's always about the mental game.
But you can't answer it over Instagram.
And not only that, but
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't even know the right question to ask, you know? And so,
Oh,
yeah,
that reminds me.
does it?
We are not only going to be talking about different phases in the middle game, but we're also going to be talking about different types of personalities, how that reflects into maybe how you filter something. Like I might filter something different than you filter something, or a different scenario.
And when you say that, explain what you mean.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, a different scenario may cause me anxiety, but if you look at it, it may fire you up and get you really excited. So we really kind of dive deep into different types of competitors and different types of personalities and different types of basically learning how your brain works and how you process stuff, because that's one of the big parts that you have to understand to be able to understand what a mental game is and what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Because something you do may not work for me, you know, because if you're at a world championship shooting off against, you know, somebody who's considered the best shooter in the world, for somebody else, they may look at that and that might instantly strike fear on them.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, just because of your experience, you may say like, heck yeah, like I'm fixing to kick this guy's butt, you know, like that may fire you up. So diving deep into understanding how your brain processes things and like how you understand things and how you take things, I think is a big key in a lot of that. And that's self-awareness. And we talk a lot about that.
Yeah. Awareness of your conscious.
Yeah.
Not to get philosophical.
I'm just telling y'all it gets deep, okay? First series gets deep.
Yeah, I would say that, as we go, it gets more...
Yeah, advanced.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Deeper.
But, as we go, progress through the stages, it's going to get heavier. Mm-hmm. Because, you got to think, what do I need to focus on in the stage that I'm in right now? So... as we tackle that question and everything like that, it's just going to get really fun. So
yeah, and we wanted to do the series because we know that everybody out there is not at the same stage. So somebody who's maybe at our level doesn't necessarily need to hear the beginning stages. So we didn't want to make one long podcast that they had to wait till the end to hear the part that might be relevant to them.
Yeah. So
that's why we broke it up into 3 different parts, so you can listen to whichever part that you might find beneficial for where you're at.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. It'd be fun. Excited.
I'm excited.
You should be. You should be. ESPN is waiting. They're filming this right now. If y'all are watching this on YouTube, it's from ESPN. I'm just kidding. We actually did all of it.
Are we gonna get pulled for copyright?
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
Just kidding. ESPN is not in sponsorship.
Not affiliated
with us.
If they want to be, they can email us for a small fee.
Why are you taking a sip out of your coffee at the same time I'm taking a sip out of my coffee?
Anyways, okay, so I think we're good on that.
Yeah, I think that covers, I mean, we hit all the main topics. I think that covers, kind of who we are, a direction that gives them to understand where the podcast is going, what the name means.
Yeah.
First series. And yeah. I think it would be
So here's what I'm going to ask of you guys. Number 1, go to our website. It's beyondthepodiumpodcast.com and check it out. Sign up for our newsletter at the bottom of any page. Read more about us. Read whatever. Watch the intro. And then go to our YouTube, which you can find the links to all of our social media on our website. So I'll only give that out because to give you a bunch of letters, numbers, and symbols to try to remember is going to be a little bit ridiculous at this point. But that will change soon. So go to our website, check it out, follow our social media, and get involved. Send us an email from there using the Contact Us page. Ask us a question. Tell us who you want us to have on. Anything like that.
And we're eventually going to try to have these podcasts filmed live so we can interact with y'all. And who knows, we might even do the first one live so we could answer, as we go along through the topic of the mental game, we can answer some of those questions that are coming in. So maybe live, may not, but either way, it'll be posted on all of our social media, like David said. But please, like he said, reach out to us because we want to answer the questions that you have. I mean, that's why we're here. We want to enlighten y'all with our knowledge.
Oh, wow. That's a very enlightening statement.
Yeah, you thought for a Southerner I wouldn't have such big words, huh?
Enlightened is a very big word. Anyways, so, and then lastly, just to add on, as an addendum.
How about we start a word of the day? In every podcast, you come up with a word and I'll come up with a word. And we somewhere have to throw it in there in the podcast.
Okay, deal.
You're going down.
And then if they can guess what our words are before we post them, then they win extra points that are made up and they don't matter. Anyways, as an addendum to what we just said, all of that, if you haven't figured out yet by the intro or anything, our podcasts are all recorded on video as well. So if you want to watch the podcast, go to our YouTube, and every one that we do, we'll try to get up on there. I mean, sometimes if we're interviewing a guest and they don't have video and we're doing it over the internet, we're not going to be able to film them.
Maybe we can find a way to put them up,
Yeah, we'll try as best as we can. But that, that's another thing we want you guys to feel like you're here with us. So follow the YouTube. It's important. We're all going to have some other stuff there too. So that's about all I got.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all very much for all the love that you've sent us already on starting this podcast. We are
it's been awesome.
Yeah, we're just as excited to get this going as y'all are, as y'all seem to be ready to listen.
Yeah, unless you're just lying to us.
Yeah, they probably are.
I've been lying to my whole life.
That's how your head got so big.
My head is huge. By the way,
oh gosh,
it's true. It's impossible for me to find hats. So if we ever do get hats for Beyond the Podium, they're going to be available in at least size 9.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Okay, so anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks all you cool cats and kittens.
Dude,
I'm just kidding.
No. Gosh, you had to sneak that in there.
Thanks, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Adios.